And here we have yet another screencast dedicated to solving problems from the June 2015 Regents using the TI-Nspire CX calculator. This was the last problem, and among the kids I've tutored, nobody got it, but nobody really even got to it, which is a shame because with the graphing calculator, this is a very easy problem. A football player attempts to kick a football over a goalpost. The path of the football can be modeled by the function h of x equals negative 1 over 225 times x squared plus 2/3 x, where x is the horizontal distance from the kick, and h of x is the height of the football above the ground, when both are measured in feet. On the set of axes below, graph the function y equals h of x over the interval 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 150. All right, well, let's get the calculator. And this time we're going to want to start with our graph. All right, so simply type in the function. Now we look at our window here. It's not going to encompass much of that, so we're going to have to, right after we do that, or we can do it before, resize this window. So again, we have to use our negative sign, and then we have 1 divided by 225 times x squared. And we have to add 2 divided by 3x. And that is that. So we're going to hit our enter key. And as I promised you, we only see a very small portion of this. So let's get another view. We definitely want to see what this looks like. We should have a parabola. And we'll go to Windows Zoom. And I'm going to go to Windows Settings this time. And we can set x to 0. And we want to go up to 150 because the domain of this is supposed to be 0 to 150, so we have 150. It's always going to be above the ground, so we can put 0 for the y minimum. And we have to pick a reasonable number to kick a football. I am guessing that a football might go as high as 60 feet. And we can always adjust that later if it's not correct. Let's click OK. There we go. Now I'm going to throw in a grid here just for the sake of a little bit more clarity. So we have our grid, and I like the line grid. That's my preference. Okay, but it still would be very difficult to plot these points. So what we want to do is we want to look at a table of information. So again, I go to Menu. I go down to Table. And I have there we go, we have our split screen table. Now, when I graph this, I'm going to look for pairs of integers, where the value of x and f of x, or h of x in this case, are equal to integers. So I'm not going to go and graph this because I have a hard time with a graphing tablet so far still, but I would graph 0, 1, or 0, 0 rather, and I would just scroll down. There we go. 15 and 9. So x would be 15, y would be 9. While we're doing this, we're going to look for our maximum. 30, 16. See, these integer pairs are much easier to graph than these crazy decimals. We'd have 45, 21. Notice we're still rising. 60, 24. Now, around halfway, we should be to the maximum, and that should be 75. So let's see what happens. At 75, we have 25. All right. So now we start to go down. So I'm going to pause here. We can graph those pairs of integers, and we'd continue to do so by scrolling through this until we get back down to the ground and 0. Okay. But let's look at the question again. What's the vertex? Well, we just found it. The vertex is 75, 25. And what does that mean? Well, that's the maximum height of that football. Now we'll go on to the next part here, and we'll have to go back. The goal post is 10 feet high and 45 yards back from the kick. Will the ball be high enough to pass over the goal post? Justify your answer. Well, notice we've been working in feet. And all of a sudden, we have a question in yards. So we're going to have to convert the feet to yards, or the yards to feet rather, excuse me. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 45, and I get 135. So I'm going to just scroll down until I get to my 135 here. And we should see it in a moment. We can see we're going down. As we go, we could graph those ordered pairs. 9 feet. It's 9 feet high. Well, the goalpost is 10 feet high. 9 feet is less than 10 feet, so no, it's not going to go over the goalpost. He will not score that extra point.